Podcast with Jenni and Jenni. This is the Noonas Podcast with Jenni and Jenni.
Dual set. Heart to heart. Noonas Podcast Amida. Welcome back to the Noonas Podcast, as always, with your hosts, Jenni and Jenni.
Hey, guys. Hope you guys are ready for my hot takes. Oh, wait. Oh, it's over? Is April Fool's over?
Are we talking about my hot takes from last week, or are we talking about other hot takes?
Yeah, I mean, I was left behind with the hot takes. I wish I could have, like, put more input on there.
Oh, I mean... Sorry, those hot takes were, just a joke, but because, I mean, y'all know me. Y'all know me. I can never say anything bad about Stray Kids or ATs. Oh, God, that hurts my heart. Oh. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out our Twitter and our Facebook. Jenni put up a really fantastic April Fool's joke that we both of us collabed on.
I was more like the editing background. Yeah, I was more like the editing background. And like I asked Jenni just come up with like some random bullshit takes.
And those are my bullshit takes. So you're welcome, world. You should have known it was bullshit from the first. The first thing that came out of my mouth was about NMIX. So you should have known immediately it was a joke.
Leaders of the fourth gen NMIX.
Right. Oh, I'm going to probably get into it again this episode, especially with when we talk about IVE later. But anyway, but yeah, no, we're back with another episode of the Noonas Podcast. And I feel like this is another kind of catch-up episode a little bit because not a lot of big albums. I feel like we had everything happen last week. Sorry, Ray. When Ray was on. Because like this week is just like it's like all single releases except for 2 mini albums. I mean, we had a lot of releases. I think we're still reviewing 6 different things, but yeah, everything was very short this week. Which makes my life easier as I'm literally in the middle of packing for Vegas. So I'm okay with that.
Exactly? What exactly?
For permission to dance on stage in Vegas for BTS, literally taking over the city of Las Vegas for the next 2 weekends. If they have not taken over the city of Las Vegas in like the last week, looking at their Instagrams and stuff, I'm looking at you, Taya.
The streets will be running in purple.
Oh, whatever, the streets will be running. Yeah, the streets will be running purple with armies. Believe me, I know armies who are flying in today. Literally today. Today is in Tuesday, the 5th of April, and armies who are flying in tomorrow. I don't fly in until Thursday, so but yeah, prepare yourselves to Vegas. You don't know what you're about to witness. It's gonna be crazy. Especially with some of the stuff they're planning for the show. But before we get into, I guess, the precursor to the BTS in Vegas, we are going to talk about BTS at the Grammys because the Grammys were just this past Sunday. And I guess I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
No, we're not surprised. But I thought it'd be if it wasn't BTS, I was kind of hoping maybe this would win.
We'll get into it. We'll get into that here as our big news story for the week. And then, like I said, we have 6 albums we're reviewing this week. Or not really albums, because we have 2 mini albums and a bunch of single releases coming out this week. From our first being the kind of holdover from the 4th gen group Kingdom, because they had COVID, so they had to postpone their debut of that album. With their newest release, History Kingdom Part 4, Dann, a new single from GOT7 member Jackson Wang, another single from former GOT7 member Yugyeom, because apparently they both had to drop stuff on the same day.
That's what friends do. Drop their music together.
Pretty much. It's exactly what buddies do. We also have a new mini album release from EXO member Suho, his second mini album, Gray Suit, as well as the much anticipated single from Big Bang, their long anticipated comeback. That just came down. Still Life. I did not understand the Korean part of it. I apologize again. My reading of Hangul is still atrocious. I just got to get better at that. But the English title is Still Life. And we'll kind of get into, I guess, our feelings on, I think, what might be the end of a huge era in K-pop. And then as well as another single released from Nugu, fourth gen group, IVE, with another single release for them, Love Dive. So yeah, a lot of new music this week to get covered. But first, let's just dig into this whole Grammys insanity from Sunday.
or because, what Twitter call it, scammies, because whenever their boys don't win, it's always rigged.
Right. I mean, that's what, if you want to look at Army Twitter, which I have my issues with Army Twitter, especially as of late. This
is the reason why non-K-pop fans think all of us are crazy, is because of those loud minority, not minority, but the loud portion of the fandom.
Yeah. I mean, they really are a minority of the fandom because they're just very loud and vocal about it. But it's hard too, because it's hard to parse who in that part of the fandom is a newer fan, who's an older fan. It's really hard to parse that out now, especially because a lot of people have come in now as they've dropped these English releases, and it's hard to again determine who's familiar with their past work, who's familiar with it's really hard to gauge that. So and it's because I'm not gonna lie, I've been seeing Army stir up a lot of fan wars as of late on Twitter.
Especially with the rebuttals we didn't start it. It's them. I was yeah, but you guys are the biggest
fandom.
The biggest people who are involved in all this. You could have ignored. If it wasn't you, if it wasn't them instigating a fan war, but they would turn the blame on someone else. But they could have ignored it completely and then not say anything, we're not involved with this. Yeah. But yeah, for them to be so loud, it's well, we're not, not us, we're the victims here. It's Jesus Christ. this is why it kind of makes me reflect on man, you know what, I can understand why the people who are not into K-pop, they see us as the fanatic of the fandom. Is just now I get the picture now, but yeah, I am not like them.
Yeah, I mean, I might have moments where I get a little Lulu, especially when it comes to my loves, but I don't get to that level of Delulu, because that level of Delulu is just okay, you all really do need to go outside and touch some grass for 5 minutes and go get some fresh air, because this armchair refereeing is not healthy at all. Just gonna point that out. But besides, because I mean, I was reading up about really some producer really trying to stir shit with Army, but that's beside the point.
Well, I mean, I mean, they kind of no, they get very defensive, so it's kind of you're stirring the pot. It's how to piss them off and all that.
Yep, you know how to instigate. If you know how to instigate a crowd just to get a little bit clout, just play that card. People know how to do that because cancel culture and all that fun stuff. So it's a fun game to play on the internet nowadays, and I hate it. But just why I usually try to avoid it. A part of Twitter. It's why I usually keep my Twitter very carefully cultivated with a bunch of really fun-loving multi-stans who don't usually care about that kind of shit. So the multi-stans I follow, I love you all on Twitter.
Stay neutral and always stay neutral in a situation. It's everyone has to pick a side. It's on this side, I'm can we just sort it out? Stop just automatically pressing the cancel button on every single situation. It's just it's not helping, especially when if it comes opposite to what you're expecting. It's you're making yourself look like bigger idiots.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, I mean, as you can kind of tell with our feelings as of with the Grammys, BTS obviously didn't win. Which, I mean, okay, I'm not mad that they didn't win, because I kind of figured they weren't going to win, because it would take a lot of precedent. It would be a really huge thing for them to win, because again, there's still this whole huge stigma about them being a boy group, and boy bands don't win Grammys. And then there's also the added factor that they're, Korean, and there's still this, like, I think, like, this level of xenophobia within the recording academy, because I feel like it's still it's getting better, but there's still an overlying stigma of being like, it's still a trend, a fad, that it's not really something that's going to stick, even though we have been seeing, like I said, we've been seeing growth. We just talked about last week with freaking Ordinary from Stray Kids charting #1 on the Billboard Hot 200 on the Billboard 200 albums chart. So there is a precedence of like K-pop actually being a thing in the States. So because that's the other thing too, is the Grammys, like they say that they're the world's biggest night for music. If you're the world's biggest night, you're not really reflecting that when you're leaving out the world's biggest group.
It's like the world's biggest music in America, or more so like North America or the Western civilization.
More Western culture. It's more of the Western side of things. So,
which I don't understand, like why they're still kind of like up in arms with like a foreign or like another group from a different country being able to win, when we've seen it happen in the Oscars like 2 years ago with Parasite. So I'm really curious to see like why, like, well, can I do that too?
And like the thing is, like, it's weird. Wow, it's weird. We're talking like the Oscars are being a more progressive award than the Grammys, strangely. Because we Parasite winning 2 years ago for Parasite, and then as Best Supporting Actress for Minari last year. So and then there was a Japanese film nominated this year for Best Picture. So like there is really progression in the Oscars that we're not seeing in the Grammys, because again, BTS was only nominated for Best Duo Group, which I have my complaints about the nominees for that, and we will get into that. Okay. But they're not nominated for the big awards of the night. They're not nominated for, like, it wouldn't be for album, but it'd be for like Song of the Year or Artist of the Year.
Right.
Like they're not nominated for those awards, and it's like, okay, maybe I can understand artists because they only just really dropped Butter and Permission to Dance last year. Understandable, because they only dropped 2 songs. But like for Song of the Year for Butter, like not to get nominated for in the Song of the Year camp, it's just kind of bizarre in my mind, especially for how much history that made on the Billboard charts. It's just like, it again kind of shows like this just kind of xenophobic mind of the Recording Academy yet, and it's just still out there. I mean, they're trying to talk about all this inclusion and stuff, and we saw a lot of Black and other people of color winning awards on the Grammy stage.
I'm glad though, like, Olivia.
It's still Western centric. That's the thing. It's still very Western centric.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Olivia, my Filipino sister, was able to like win some awards too. So at least that like there's some representation of like the Asian side, but not all like the full on like Korean from like the East Asia, able to get that chance of winning. And also like because the Grammys, like how they like, I guess, select the winners or select the nominees. It's very different from like how they do it in in Korea when it comes to whoever's like qualified and being in these categories, because like I think for Korean like music shows or like in music awards, they really rely on like streamings and like how it's charting, and also like from the fan influence, whereas the Grammys are more of like a traditional sense of like voting, and then it's still like a closed mindset of like the people behind the scenes looking over at like the music and then like who they subjectively would choose to be the winner. So it's not like the fan influence is able to help decide on who the winner is. It doesn't really matter on the streams like how much like Butter is making throughout last year. It's still up to like the judges to decide on that. So there's nothing much we can do, because like the fans think they have the power, but not for the Grammys.
Unfortunately not. And then I guess my other thing, well, I will say this. at least the performance was amazing. That they did. They finally got to perform on the Grammy stage in Las Vegas. As we know, they're in Vegas for the show, which I will be at on Friday and Saturday. But they got to perform on stage, and I mean, wow, what a show-stopping number. I mean, they really took the Vegas idea and like really elevated it up in this like kind of like Rat Pack Ocean's 11-esque kind of stylized performance of Butter. Highly recommend to check it out. I don't think there's an official video of it up yet.
But everyone's been reacting to it, like on YouTube, like all, everyone, not just like the, K-pop centric reactors, but everyone has, was just like marveling at like the performance of, BTS. So, like, if you guys haven't, been amazed already, like for the past years, it's I don't know where you guys are at.
We've been telling you all for years. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was very Kingdom-esque performance. It was giving me vibes of Kingdom a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting some flashbacks to God's do a little bit, especially with the lasers. Not gonna lie, I was getting some vibes to that.
It just makes me want to imagine if like the Grammys if they start to like embrace more K-pop and they include more K-pop groups other than BTS. Can you imagine Stray Kids coming into the whole? Sorry, it's just this wishful thinking, but man, if like Stray Kids become qualified for, like the Grammys consideration.
I'm just waiting for Stray Kids to get invited to the Billboard Awards now. This is my first step, Billboard Awards, and AMA. So it's like my first step, because at that point I'm just be here like, so that's my first step for Stray Kids, because that would be holy crap. Because again, performance group, them and ATs, performance groups of the fourth gen, they would kill it. So yeah, but the one, like I said, the thing is, the Grammys decided to have them as the third act to perform.
Yeah.
After it was, I think it was out. Yeah, it was like, so they were early in the show, like they were then like the first half hour of the show. And then they decided to have the award for best pop duo group in the award show, and it was like one of like the second or third to last award, announced, and it was like nearly 2.5 hours after the performance that they waited until the award was announced. So basically, they were kind of holding the army hostage a little bit, because they knew we would tune in and wait to see if they won. And that
is like a manipulation of like the viewership, coming from the army, because because they needed that, from
they
them.
need that boost.
It's like really taking an advantage. But like how could you blame them? Because like they care more about the views, and the army are a big fandom. So
oh yeah, they're a big fandom, and they would stick around to watch it and wait. I mean, well, I don't know. I haven't seen any numbers yet on the viewership of the Grammys, but I just know like the Grammy viewership has not been good the last couple of years, and I'm not sure how good it was, considering it was months later. And I know a lot of people forgot like who the nominees were. Even my friends were like, wait, who's all nominated again in these categories? Because the nominations were like an eon ago. Because it's just been so long since the nominations came out, and then the Grammys got postponed because of Omicron. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I honestly thought if BTS wasn't going to win, which I said I was not holding into like a breath of hope that BTS was going to win. It was a fool's errand that they were going to win. I thought it was going to go to Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett, honestly, because the Grammys kind of have like this, because with the whole kind of tragic thing with Tony Bennett with Alzheimer's, and just kind of a final thing for them. But it went to Doja Cat and SZA. Which caught me off guard.
Okay. I mean, like I could kind of see why, because other than with BTS songs, that song has been played around for the past year, so and it's been played.
It's been TikTok, a very popular song.
Yeah, especially in the TikTok, because they always kept on playing that and using that song in their videos. So I could understand why.
Yeah, I understand why, but it's just like, and then again, because the Grammys have been trying to promote this whole, like, we're actually, rewarding people of color, because, like, then there are a lot of people of color won during the Grammys. Shout out to Jean-Baptiste, especially because I know he's been hanging out with V in Vegas. I saw V's Instagram. I saw Jean-Baptiste's Twitter. He's been hanging out with V post Grammys.
Yeah. Also, yeah. But I know like how V's been interacting with a lot of artists too. But yeah, like he. Sorry, like okay, it's kind of a random.
Sorry
thing.
Tangent, but move back to this. But yeah, it's just like I guess it just more stems because of my whole like things with Doja Cat. That's a whole another conversation for a whole another day because the things Doja Cat has said. That just it kind of leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth. That's why I guess I was more upset. I understand it being a popular song, but it's just the things she said. So
I'm happy on like SZA's part because I love SZA.
Oh, me too. I'm more happy on SZA's part too, especially because she got up there in those crutches and shout out to Lady Gaga for fixing her dress.
Okay, some people are kind of like are kind of suspicious because like she was like walking normally or she was walking quick when she got on stage. So like. What's going on? But I think
there's something. I think there was some other. I didn't actually read it, but I think there's something. She just had surgery or something. I don't think she can walk too fast with it or something. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
somebody let me know.
People are kind of like keeping a close eye because like she was walking at like some parts like where she was walking like fine and there. But yeah, but I like how she's like able to like get it, but while still being recovering from her injuries, whatever happened to her.
So. But yeah, can we also talk about like seriously, like can we talk about V being like the one the one social like member BTS like going out and like talking to all these celebrities? Like I'm sorry, the pictures of him and Lady Gaga are amazing. Like yes.
Oh yeah, and they also said that they wanted to collab with Lady Gaga, which since she collabed with Blackpink for Sour Candy, there should be a chance
I could see that
too. Sweet Candy.
Sweet Candy, not Sour Candy.
Sweet Candy, the next song with BTS.
I would be okay with this, honestly.
I love Lady Gaga. I've been actually
also. I'm not gonna lie.
Like,
during the performance, V's little moment with Olivia Rodrigo is still hilarious. I'm sorry, the memes people are coming up with that, especially with what he quote unquote whispered to her. A lot of it being, the memes saying Arm doesn't have his driver's license cracks me up.
help him, boy, man.
Oh God, go watch the performance. Go watch the performance. It's amazing. No, I think like I think they did a pretty, I think they took advantage of like what they could do. I mean, you could tell, like, I know they talked in their V Live after the show, like it's like, they're definitely like a fish out of water in this situation. Like at least they have the 7 of them together to like talk and feel comfortable. But like, I mean, they're in a different country and it's a very, America is a very different culture than Korea. So just to be in a situation like this, it's got to be just, so overwhelming for them.
I don't know. Like for me, I kind of feel like I think they're used to it after like, being like going into like, international waters, promoting a lot of English singles and, a lot of like collabing with a lot of American artists. I think they're like almost like used to it now, or it's like
I wonder if it's just because of the award situation, because again it's a lot of people in one place, I wonder if that's kind of like when you're like going collabing with people, it's just like one-on-one. Now you're like everybody's here, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of those situations. So but
yeah, I feel like they're I think they're more adapting into like the lifestyle now, since like they're like the only ones in K-pop who's like really incorporating or like interacting with a lot of American like pop and all that. So it's like to me, I feel like they know what it is and how I think the business works. Hopefully,
they're getting better with it. So, but like I said, I just still find it funny how much V was just going around interacting with everybody.
I'm proud of him though. I'm proud of him because he's usually the quiet one. He's like,
he's been living it up in Vegas. Between him going to the jazz bars, him hanging out with Jean-Baptiste. Like I said, I saw that on Twitter last night. This man's living it up in Vegas.
He's just playing as Bully Maguire. I'm in Vegas.
He is having so much fun, and it's just you can tell, and he's just thank you for doing the Bully Maguire dance in Spider-Man 3. Thank you.
But he's like also like I love his taste in music though. He's such an old school. I love his taste.
I love
My
his
bad.
I love his aesthetic. Like I can understand why he would be hanging out with John Baptiste. Totally understand why. Totally. I'm not gonna lie, I watched the John Baptiste performance. So good. So good. Also so happy he won Album of the Year. So
Oh
happy.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. So happy.
This is
It's
why
such a good
we're
album.
not that disappointed in, like, the Grammys, because at least felt like
No.
something that we actually like, won. So I'm still very happy for the other winners.
Yeah, there's some really good wins and some actually really surprising wins, I thought. And some other really good performances too, that I really enjoyed. I really did like Billie Eilish's performance. Like I said, I really like John Baptiste's performance too. So, of the things I did watch, because I pretty much did turn off after best duo song. Also, because it's like 10 o'clock at that point, and I'm like, I was getting exhausted, so I was like, I need to go to bed. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'd like and like I said, this is basically for them is like the precursor to what's going to happen now the next 2 weekends in Vegas with Army coming into town and taking over. So it's gonna be like the big main event is gonna be happening and stuff too. And I'm hoping Jin's hand's gonna be okay, because I know Jin was sitting off to the side of the stage, being the hot hacker that he is. Apparently,
worldwide hacker. Yeah, worldwide handsome, worldwide hacker.
Exactly. I had playing up on his whole season's greetings image from 2022. That was a whole thing. Because I could tell he had his whole entire hand was wrapped up, and he's saying it doesn't hurt, but there was a moment on the red carpet where he banged his hand accidentally, and you could see the pain in his arm, in his hand, and his eyes too. So it's like, ooh, I hope that's better for the show. I'm assuming
I'm fine.
I'm assuming they're probably modified the choreography a little bit for him with his hand, because his hand's completely wrapped up. So.
Yeah, apparently, like when he was recovering, like they were like rehearsing for one night, and they managed to pull it off.
Yeah, that's what blows me away, is like this whole entire performance one day, because literally J-Hope flew in that Saturday, and that's when Jungkook got cleared off a COVID protocol, was that Saturday as well. So they literally had a night to practice that whole entire performance. And besides J-Hope nearly tripping on stage, because I think he misjudged the little like center stage thing they had. I think he misjudged that, but he recovered beautifully.
Yeah, I love.
That's why he's my bias.
Just like, yeah, I love like he's smiling, but like, ooh, that's classic.
Ever the professional. He's ever the professional. Yeah, that's why he's my bias.
It's like the main actor from BTS.
Oh my God, you have to give it up to them. Like, that was such an amazing performance. I need to go rewatch it. So good. Like I said, it was giving me like really good Kingdom-esque performance flashbacks again. So so good. But yeah, I'm just excited. I'm just more excited for them. Like I said, that was like the precursor for them for like what's coming up the next 2 weekends in Vegas. Like, this is going to be like, they'll realize like this is why they're here. Like, they're seeing all the armies coming into town and just taking over, and just all the support and love that they're going to get. So
yeah, I feel like that's all. I think that I don't think they felt as bad as like they did last year. Not winning Dynamite, because I think they really just more care about like the performances for the Las Vegas tours. So I think they already have like their mindset, like it might not happen, but just we're gonna enjoy our time in our Vegas tours.
We gotta get this Vegas stuff. We gotta get this Vegas show out of the way.
Right. I just have a question. Going back with the Grammys, like,
sure.
Do you think BTS should still keep an eye on the ball for like aiming for a Grammy nomination and a win, or could they just not like prioritize that anymore and just like do something else?
I don't know, because like I feel like they should just prioritize back. I mean, because like we really haven't had a full Korean album. Well, not really. No, in terms of full Korean album, I mean like a full album of theirs since B, and that was the late 2020. So, although rumors are floating around that they supposedly are dropping a new album sometime before the end of the second quarter of 2022 here. So, sometime before June, supposedly, they're going to be dropping an album. Rumor has it. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, would I like them to get a Grammy? Yeah, but I mean, the Grammy doesn't necessarily equate the, you know, the historic, you know, relevancy of a group or like the just shining, you know, stardom of a group, because a lot of really good groups didn't win a Grammy. So,
Yeah, I
you
feel like,
know,
they should learn. I not really learn, but I think like kind of learn the realities of like, the business with, American pop music, and
hmm
maybe just not like just like focus on like, we're gonna need like a, get like a
yeah,
new single to appease like the Grammy judges over there. So I feel like they should just like, um focus on like, just making music and just like being, starting to be better from like their
yeah,
last, music. So
yeah, being true
that's
to
what I
themselves, and
yeah.
you know, kind of getting back to like what they like best and what their music's going to be. I mean,
Right.
we've yet to see what their new music is going to be like, if and when that's going to happen. Although, I mean, if it's in any vein of like anything else that's been coming out of Hype as of late, looking, you know, anything that's come from Mixed Power by Together or in Hyphen or 17, it's looking rock heavy, which I'm all for. Especially
Mhm.
with the performance, with them, definitely there's some nods in the background, them posting some pictures of Most Beautiful Moment era BTS in there, and then spray painted on the walls, quote unquote spray painted on the walls, were the lyrics to Fire. So there were some nods to the Most Beautiful Moment era in that performance. So I don't know what that means. Could be a no, because they like to leave little hints in their performances, but don't know. We'll see. So that's just me putting my, you know, tinfoil, not the pirate hat this time, but a tinfoil hat on.
Always wear a
So,
tinfoil power hat and everything.
but I think that's enough Grammy talk from the two of us. Let's get into these album reviews this week, because we got a lot of music to review this week. And I got to finish packing. No, but I'm actually looking forward to reviewing these because we got a lot of stuff all over the place this week. So let's
Right.
get into our first album of the week, which came out back on the 31st of March, and that is from fourth generation group Kingdom. And again, this is kind of a holdover because they had to postpone their album because they all got COVID. So they're all recovered, thankfully, so they can now promote COVID free. But this is their newest album, History Kingdom Part 4, Dann. So we're now over halfway through these like introductory, I feel like this introductory phase of Kingdom's discography. Because I feel like, you know, we're already introducing every member, or the like themes of every member. Because now we're dealing with member Dann, and he's the Korean king
And he's a
in
leader
the
of
group.
and he's a leader of the group too for Kingdom. I just saw on the information as well.
Mm-hmm. So, and the title track off of this one is Ascension, or in Korean, Sangji. But I guess I want to know what your thoughts are on this title track and on, I guess, on History Kingdom Part 4.
Yeah, I think for this one, I think this will probably be my favorite era from Kingdom, because I think the album as a whole really fits with the themes of like their retelling of their Korean history regarding I think they're one of their founding fathers for Korea. So I think they really succeeded in making like a consistent or a cohesive certain sound, or like a distinctive sound for the whole album, and making it fit all together, and like even making like the songs unified as a whole like unified theme.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that too. I think this is definitely their most cohesive album uh in their discography, in their short discography, but they have 4 albums. This is the 4th album. And this is this is, I think, the most cohesive. This is the most collectively like thought through and most well assembled
Right.
album of theirs. And even with the title track Ascension, I think it kind of falls along in those similar veins of like K-pop songs that, you know, definitely play with the Korean sounds. Like we see
Yeah.
with like Idol from BTS, Lit from Noonas, Thunderous from Stray Kids, The Real from ATEEZ. But I like the fact that it has this like darker tinge to it. It's not as like bright and festival
Yeah,
as those songs have been. It's
because
got this like darker, more somber take to it. Like it's like almost like a trot uh song to it, or a pansori. I guess if you want to go to it, like a pansori, which is a type of traditional Korean folk music. There's definitely those kinds of vibes and those kinds of storytelling in the lyrics and stuff too. If the lyric translations really have this very poetic kind of sounding narrative to it, which is very, very reminiscent of the pansori folk music. And I really, really admire the fact that they were able to take that and, combine that with some fourth generation, elements and create like a really engaging song.
yeah, I think it helps too is that whereas like you take like other existing similar concepts, just as like idol, I would also put Augustine's Dejita, and maybe like going to like the Chinese side of music with Lay's Lit. I think that has more, I guess, more of like a somber but more of like an epic scale vibe with like both of those songs. Yeah, there's like I think that the existing example we've said felt like they're incorporating more of a modern tinge. Like I think that really differentiates with like those other previous groups and their songs is that I think they've set it at like a modern era where they've like incorporated a lot of like modern music into like with the traditional like Korean music. So I think with this, what really really strikes out, or what really like makes itself like unique from the rest of those, is how they really embrace a lot of like the storytelling and like the history that they're like presenting regarding like their history of of like their leader for of Korea. I think is it what was the name of um they're trying to talk about again, because I think Dann is like should be named after like one of Korea's leaders, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, he's named after one of the main leaders of Korea. I'm trying to remember which one he is, and I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it has like he has like a different name, I think, but I don't know if that's
Yeah.
like the exact person that he's actually like inspired from.
Yeah, I
Um,
know because they changed the name obviously for the group, but it is something different for like the storyline of the whole entire group, like because like their whole AU, like their whole like storyline that they have.
Yeah,
Um
I think it's named after Don Gun. I guess I think he's like apparently the legendary founder and like one of the first kings of the Korean kingdom. So
mhm.
I'm guessing that's what they were taking the name after. But yeah, I like how they're like the presenting or like telling the story of like each of the historical figures. Like they've done it with with
Mhm.
King Arthur, with Ivan the Terrible, and
Mhm.
Chiwu for like the Chinese storytelling. So
Mhm.
I really love what like the concept that they're making here, and it's really I wish people had like more recognition, and, like seeing like their effort into like
Mhm.
telling a story, because yeah, because there's not a lot of groups
There's
that that would do something like that.
I agree with this too. There's a lot of thought, a lot of really careful thought, and um I can't think of the word, but like they've really crafted a really a lot into this, not just into like their storyline and just like the members themselves and the music and everything. Um just to really make it really engaging, and like because I mean every title track has been very very much on an epic level. I mean, we saw that with Excalibur, we saw that with Karma, we saw that with Black Crown, and now we see it with Ascension. All of them are on these epic levels, and it just continues with that. And so yeah, it is continuing that whole entire trail. And like I said, I think this one is honestly, I think, one of my favorites after Karma, in terms of title tracks for them. And yeah, it's just like, because it's this whole like kind of rise of them like going to, it kind of has like this feeling of like going to war, like going to fight to protect their kingdom and stuff. Because I kind of interpret into two different ways, like one in their storyline, because it kind of seems like that's what's happening currently in their storyline that we've kind of been seeing in the music videos. And two, just because of the continuous fight that the Korean people had throughout history, because they've dealt with multiple invasions, not just as when they were the Three Kingdoms, but also as the kingdom of Joseon, back before they were established as the country of Korea, in the early 1900s. So there's a lot to unpack here in terms of like the historical relevancy of this album. But like I said, it's really fascinating just like to see all that history kind of stuff tied into this. And there's just the beautiful crafting of using the traditional like sounds and the kind of pansori type of lyric writing into the song too. It's this really beautifully engaging stuff, and even the choreography is really, really beautiful too. I've managed to see a couple of the music show performances because they have not been performing at music shows, and it's really beautifully engaging and stuff. So as most of their performances are, because they're very, again, one of those like more theatrical kind of groups, I feel like too. They're kind of not at the level of like ATEEZ or Stray Kids. Like they're getting there. Like they still need a little bit in the in the emotions, but like the choreography is quite amazing. But
I really love the detail and like the effort that they make in like trying to represent each of like the kingdoms, as each of like their concept as they go along. So I think I really dug this the most, because I can really tell like the details that they put, and like how visually striking those were. And I really love how I think they researched like their craft perfectly here.
Yeah, they really have been putting in the research for every single comeback. So, because they even saw that with like Black Crown, all the research they put into for the Russian, and I mean, and then they always tease like the next one, who's the next king that they're going to look into, and I think in the next one's going to be Louis.
Yeah,
I think it's Louis, the next one.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of with the kind of the French
scenery,
like. Yeah, so it's very much like the roses and stuff, and I'm like, oh, and the wine. I'm like, nope, we're doing Louis next.
We're all French. Yeah.
Also, because there's very like romantic gothic kind of sound coming to at the end of the music video. I was like, ooh, I'm looking forward to see like what this is going to be. So
yeah,
but also kind of fitting too that they made the leader as like the center of their storyline. I kind of appreciate that too. That idea of like. He's the center.
Yeah, they really like really constructed their plans, and like who's gonna have like for the next comeback. So yeah, they really planned their stuff well, and I just wish like people like were able to recognize their work ethic and all that for. I
do too. I've been trying to push them as much as I can, because I think they really do deserve the look right now. They're from a very small company. They're from GF. It's a very small company. They're the only group under them. Like they deserve all these looks, because there's so much into it, and they really put a lot of work into it. And like I said, that's even not just Ascension itself, but some of the B-sides on this album too. I mean, as always, the intros nail it
right
on these albums.
It really sets up like the epic, like the epic scale of or the epic scope of the whole album, and it just like it really like hypes you up, and it's like you're like actually like you're imagining that you're going into like a war movie, or like something like like the fantasy movie like Lord of the Rings type of introduction.
Yeah, very much like it's like you're ready for like it's like almost like a Korean historical fantasy drama-esque sound to it. Like you feel like you're ready to like watch something like that. Then were there any of the other like B-sides that you really liked?
Well, before that, is like what I really love is that I think for this one, I think I was able to pay attention with I was able to like recognize like, oh, this is like a continuation of like the songs, and it's like it's still like talking or still revolving around like that said leader, because I think you know, like later in the song that it goes back to like, the leader and his perspective of like, you know, I guess his relationship with his wife. I think because it felt like, you know, it's like, oh, I promise I'll, you know, come back to you. Yeah, like a lot of like the songs there really like connects well with, you know, the whole story. So that's what I, you know, I really love this album the most from like what from the discography so far. My favorite ones are like the more again the upbeat you know, tracks such as Illusion. You know, if you know me, I'm like a sucker for like the retro sounds, and like I really love the dreamy effect that they made for the retro synth pop wave. I also love the next song, which was Appetite, because I think it went more of like the 2000s type of pop rock sound with the added electric guitar. It makes it, you know, like different from, you know, Illusion. And the one that I was, you know, talking about connecting with, you know, like the story of, you know, Korea's king, which was Promise. It sounds like you could like put this song is it like of a K period drama OST.
Oh my God, I thought the exact same thing when I listened to Promise, or it's also known as the Song of Dawn.
Yeah, Song of Dawn, yeah.
I immediately thought the exact same thing. It feels like something that could be like in a period K-drama.
Right. And then when I like looking at the lyrics, it felt like it was like written in the perspective of you know, Dann, you know, the king, and then like he's like reflecting back on his, you know, his life, his like accomplishments, and like, you know, his relationships and what he could have done. So it really like grips you. It makes you, you know, what makes you want to like research more about like these people that they've you know, took inspirations from. It made me want to research more about it, because I've been doing it right now, and it's, you know, it's a very intriguing search and what I've read upon.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I've done my fair share of like looking into ancient Korean history, even modern Korean history as of late too, but yeah, the ancient Korean history is quite fascinating, and like this kind of did invigorate me looking up some more of it too again. I did I mean, I love Illusion because it had this very The Weeknd-esque sound, that very retro sound. I also appreciate because it was this kind of like mature sound for them too. It felt like it was one of their more mature songs in their discography, and I really appreciated this in their to see that with them. Like there's this growth that we've seen since their debut last February. And I also liked Appetite as well. I did. I liked that more modern rock sound. And then, yeah, Song of Dawn kind of gave me a reminder back to Ace's song, Jindo Arirang prequel from their, was that The Changer, their last album they dropped before two of their members went to the military. Because that was kind of based on a old Korean song as well, so like I was getting vibes of that as well, and I'm like, I love songs that do that, like kind of just put me back into this like older ancient history, and like have these like so modern tinges to it too, because there's just some strong emotion in that one in Song of Dawn, Promise. Like this album is so good. Like I applaud them for the amount of growth they've had in a year. The amount of storytelling this album has, just how cohesive it is. I think this is their best album yet.
Yeah, I thought so. That's what I thought so too.
So like this is honestly their best album hands down, and y'all need to stop sleeping on Kingdom. Like y'all need to go check them out. They are legitly, I think, horribly one of the most underrated fourth gen groups out there.
Man, I really hope the labels didn't give up on them, because we've been like talking so much, you know, so much praises for them, you know, that I really hope they don't go to waste like that.
I've at least seen growth like every comeback in terms of like views on their music videos and stuff. So, and I know people are talking about them. Like I know there are more kingmakers out there, which is their fandom. And I know a couple of the groups that I do follow on Facebook are heavily like saying like y'all need to really go check out Kingdom, especially after this one. Like And I'm one of them. Like, y'all really need to go check out Kingdom. Such a very underrated 4th gen group.
Right.
So,
man, do it now. After listening to this episode, just listen to Kingdom. We'll just like put the link in there.
just go stream Kingdom after you're done listening to our episode.
Yeah, we'll put the link in here. Promise.
Promise. But with that, let's move on to our...
Sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that pun. Accidental.
No, as my boyfriend always says, intend your puns. So let's move on to our next release, which is one of our many single releases of the week. And this is actually just literally a single. This is from Jackson Wang of previously of GOT7, who's been doing a lot of solo work as of late. I know he took a bit of a break because I know he was kind of going through some stuff because he's pretty open about it on his Instagram. He was kind of going through a rough patch, and but this is his first single since then, and this is Blow. Also, I think this is a pre-release because it sounds like he's got an album coming out later this year. It sounds like. Because he keeps teasing this album Moon Magic. So I think this is going to be on that album, but this is like a pre-single release.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, I thought he dropped his album. That's why I was like searching. It's like, is there no more songs? Like, oh no, just Blow? Okay. Yeah.
Jackson dropped the album. I'm sure it's coming eventually. I know he will, because he hasn't dropped an album yet since GOT7 quote unquote disbanded. Not even really disbanded. They're just all doing solo stuff now.
Yeah, they're away from JYP. Like, they're formerly JYP, GOT7.
They're off doing their own things, and we're happy for them. We're very, very happy for them. Oh my God.
Oh man.
But I want to know what you thought of Blow, because this came out back on the 1st of April. So, I mean, I had to take everything that comes out for April 1st, with a grain of salt. So, because you can't trust anybody on April Fool's Day.
If he made a joke, oh man! If he just actually released a joke MV, I would be so pissed.
He would be the person who would. I know that. Like, he would.
Like he's mature from his wacky nature. Like, I'm kind of bummed out. But maybe if he's with GOT7, he's probably gonna go back to his his personality. Once
he's hanging with the 6 of them, yeah. I think a lot of that comes just to him hanging around Bam Bam. Anyway, like, those 2 are the 2 extroverts of the whole group. The rest of them are introverts. Hands down.
Introverts. Loud introverts.
They're very loud introverts. But yeah, no, I mean, Blow is, I think, it's very different from I think what we've seen from Jackson Wang. Very, very, very different. Because we've seen a lot of more. I mean, he definitely has a pop sound, but this, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I watched the music video first. When I watched it, but this was giving very like Time Warp vibes from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh my God!
I don't know if it's just the music video.
I think like for the music for me, okay, the performance with it's like a Rocky Horror Picture, but for some reason, why do I feel like the music kind of reminds me of like the White Stripes for some reason?
I thought Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, Panic at the Disco, like some like hard, like pop rock punk type of like a
little bit of alt rock. Yeah, I kind of got like that because like I was getting like some vibes of like Panic at the Disco, like early Panic at the Disco back when it was like 4 of them. Not when it was just Brendan Urie. But yeah, because like it's very simplistic. I will say that it's very, very simplistic in its arrangement. Which can be good or bad, depending how you look at it. But it's got an engaging beat to it. I mean, I quite enjoyed it because I do kind of dig that sound. I do like a lot of early Panic at the Disco. Again, I think that's just my bleeding emo heart. I mean, I don't think it's my favorite Jackson Wang single. But it's definitely twinges of Jackson Wang because it's got that kind of storytelling that he likes to do in his songs. Like I can tell it's a Jackson Wang song. The way it's just assembled and the way it's performed. But yeah, it feels a little simplistic. I don't know if it's just because he's still trying to experiment with this like new sound, new style that he's trying to do, or what exactly is going on with it.
Yeah, I feel like the production side of the things was like more restrained, and I felt like it could have added more. I guess I agree with you, like more diversity. But I think he really put more effort and more focus on like his music video project, because I think that's where the music shined the most, was through like the music video.
Yeah. Yeah, the music video has a lot of stylized. Sorry. God, now I'm gonna self-destruct because Jackson Wang in a corset. Oh God.
Jackson Wang and a bunch of like him like compacted with a lot of like, not women, but like a lot of like
a lot of dancers.
Suggested performances. That's what
I'm just gonna say, like I said, I was getting Rocky Horror Picture Show-esque vibes, some early Panic at the Disco-esque vibes. Why the fuck was this also trying to weasel in my head for some fanfic ideas? God damn it! Shit.
Man, don't you tell me and make another Rocky Horror edit, because I already did it with freaking Changmin.
I know.
I already did that.
I know. It's like, damn it, I can't do another one. I know. It's like I have new ideas. Or you can do Panic at the Disco. Kind of like Panic at the Disco, like early Panic at the Disco. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not my favorite Jackson Wang song, but like I can definitely tell like he's definitely like I think kind of reinventing his sound a little bit, and like it's in the baby steps of it, and it's like I see something there and something could be really engaging and really fun, especially because it sounds like something he's really comfortable with, that he's really wanted to do, because it sounds like he was kind of having a bit of an identity crisis when he's kind of going through this rough patch at the end of last year. So from what I saw on his Instagram, because he revealed some of it on his Instagram. Obviously, we don't know the full extent of it, but it's whatever he felt like he wanted to publicly announce to his fans. So I'm curious to see what the rest of this album is going to be when it comes out. Because
I
it'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I really understand. Like what he's like exactly going through, a lot of like, I guess, creative distress. I think that's what he's implying. I guess he's like having a hard time trying to figure out what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
it's probably like
creative
burnout. Yeah, probably more than that. It's probably like I guess like taking care of his mental health as well. But yeah, I think what I realized, or I guess recognized, observed in Jackson Wang's music, I think is a lot of like repetition, and I guess by repetition, like he's able to do a lot of like effective, simplistic rhythms, because I do notice he always like goes for the same like verses and then the same chorus. Like you could tell it with 100 Ways, Pretty Please, it's still like the same verse, same chorus. I think what I guess what's more different for here is just, I think, again, it's more restrained. So you can make something like like you can repeat like the same verse or same chorus, but try to make something that's really diverse, or add some like dynamic element into it. So because they can do that, because we've seen like bands, like I'm gonna go again with the White Stripes, like they go for like the more simplistic do-it-yourself type of production in their music. So like he can do something the same thing as that and make it more, add some oomph into it. But but I'm still really proud of like his craft, like in his filmmaking, because I know he's really inspired by a lot of like Hong Kong filmmaking and a lot of like cinematic styles like to do, and I think he really captured those filmmaking well, and I really hope he can exceed and try to improve on both like his music and his filmmaking passion. And I'm really excited to see what else he can do, because I think for here, I think the music video really makes it like very effective, that he's able to make something artistic and try to make like this metaphorical like messages like regarding what he's talking about in the song. Like I was able to like be so intrigued on like what like the symbolism that he's trying to do, and like talking about like how this sad girl is like she's so dangerous, but she's so addictive as well, like cigarettes. And you see them like doing like the symbolism of them blowing and inhaling back the smoke, and them like performing with such evocative type of like performances, which is like very like different from what you've seen from Jackson before, and
Mm-hmm.
as well as like having that really like claustrophobic like thing, because there's a lot of background dancers. It makes it feel like you're kind of tensed up in the situation. So I really felt that. So kudos to Jackson to making that type of effective work on the film, in the music video.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it definitely works better if you watch the music video. I think by itself, it's a little bare, but if you watch the music video, it
Hmm.
definitely enhances the song. Like it's as a collective package. So
Yeah,
I
it's
agree with
almost
you immensely on that. Like, yeah, because I mean, he is a connoisseur of cinema. Like you can tell this man studies cinema and looks at like different camera angles and just like composition and knows the little intricacies of that and just like the symbolisms and how that can like portray an idea or a message to your audience. And because we've seen that like especially with like in Pretty Please, because like I think that was like one of his more cinematic music videos as of late. Like that was a great storytelling vehicle. And yeah, this one definitely has that, even if it's more simplistic, still drives the idea home. The idea of the message behind the song, the kind of the
Mhm.
addictive qualities of this love he's found himself in. So
Yeah, I think it's more avant-garde, because it has like a lot of like symbolism and a lot of like obscure type of imagery. Whereas like
mhm.
his last music videos were more straightforward.
Yeah,
It's very like stylish in the filmmaking, but also I think you can understand what's going on. But with this one, it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to figure out what's going on and what is like they're trying to evoke here.
yeah, there's a little bit of avant-gardeness to it, but I do appreciate. So, and I think that might also help too with some of the costumes too, because it's very
Hmm.
Moulin Rouge esque too, in
Hmm.
a way, with like the outfits, because it's a very like turn of the century kind of backstage at like a seedy club kind of look. So
Oh yeah, most definitely. We need more avant-garde music videos in K-pop.
we do. Besides obviously the music videos that confuse the hell out of me in storylines, we do need more avant-garde music videos in
Hmm.
K-pop that are just like make you want to think and just kind of just dissect them, and they do make you want to rewatch them. So I will say
Yeah.
that. But yeah, that was the only song off of this one because it was just the one single for Jackson. Unlike our next artist, another GOT7 member, because apparently they both wanted to drop stuff on the same day.
Right?
Um,
Best friend forever.
this is Yugyeom, the youngest member of GOT7, who's signed with AOMG Music, with his new single release, Take You Down, which is featuring Kugi, which I think is another AOMG artist as well, in this single release. And I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of continuing again, these like, because he's had a couple single releases, I think, now under AOMG, because that was the new label he signed with to do music post JYP. And a lot of I like kind of, he's like more like kind of chill lo-fi, laid
Right.
back hip hop R&B sound. It's
I think it really
very storytelling.
Yeah, I think it really suits that genre well. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think I really enjoy like those two songs that he put out, because it does make it sets up like a very relaxing mood for in like
Hmm.
what situation you want to do. But yeah, I really dug like the production made for like that lo-fi R&B type of those tracks. And they're very
Yeah.
different too. They don't like sound the same or similar to each other, so which is good.
Yeah, there's like two different sides of like lo-fi. I mean, there's many sides to like feel like to lo-fi or R&B, but these are two different unique sounds, which I do appreciate as well. Um, and I do appreciate because like I can be kind of telling with his writing as of late too, with his couple of singles he's dropped, because I think he said about this is like his third one, I think, under AOMG now. And a lot of them, like he deals a lot of like kind of like that, like kind of lawning and kind of like this like darker storytelling, you know, I'm trying to think the right word now, like these darker themes, like kind of like more addictive, like like darker kind of love vibes, like, you know, like his first one, like Take You Home is like really, like, the music for that one is like, holy crap, like the storyline of that one is holy crap, and especially when you look at the lyric translations, it's like Jesus.
I didn't see the lyrics, but I think for me, how I interpreted like the whole music in the song, it feels very like lusty type of like sexy R&B hip hop. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a very minimalist type of melodious track where, you know, it could like set up like a right mood with your, you know, your romantic partner. But I didn't realize what he said on the lyrics. So maybe
I just feel like it's very, this song is very lusty. Like he really wants to take you home, especially because like with the whole, like, it's kind of interesting with the way the music is set up, but like the, like, you know, the 3 rooms, and then, like, you know, it starts with the couple making out in the bathroom, and it's just like,
yeah, you know, GOT7 was so free from JYP's clutches that they're able to make a lot of like mature, you know, subject matters.
Oh my God, right? I mean, everything we've seen as of late has been very mature between even between JB, between Yugyeom, between Bam Bam, between Jackson, like,
Yeah, I feel like Jackson.
like,
No, not Jackson. Bam Bam still has like like the same character with him, I think, but he's more like, you know, he has like free reign to do his own music. But I think those, like, I think their music, like their solo discography so far has been very like distinctive of their own style and their own personality. So, which I'm very happy to see that they're able to, you know, incorporate those you know, those expressions for themselves.
Me too. Like, it's really nice to see like them be able to like finally portray like their own colors and their own stories out in the world, and finally, you know, be able to like do the music they want to do and feel comfortable doing it. And like, yeah, I do really like this like lo-fi kind of hip hop. Like, we kind of saw it a little bit when it was just two, when it was JB and Yugyeom doing it, like their like side project with when they were in GOT7, because I love that album that they did. That was one album they did together, and like I kind of saw a little bit of some twinges of his sound off of that, even JB's stuff too. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see him kind of continuing on this stuff and doing like really thriving in this like lo-fi hip hop R&B, and it fits really well with his like kind of like higher voice, like this falsetto he kind of does sing in. It's this kind of interesting, cool compliment, especially with some of the beats that you wouldn't think would work, but it does.
Yeah, you always gotta have those falsettos in, you know, in like a sexy R&B track. You've got to.
You do, and he pulls off those beautifully. So, because there's this beautiful breathiness to it, I guess is the best way of putting it. But yeah, I really like it. I mean, Take You Down was really good, and then the second one, Lights. Yeah, like I said, it's just I put down more lo-fi hip hop R&B goodness for your soul.
Right.
So it's very much I really do. I love all this, like I love looking into like the K hip hop scene, the K R&B scene, because there's a lot of really interesting sounds and stuff out there that's obviously not in the mainstream K-pop realm. And it's nice to like see that and to kind of venture out and just see like what they're kind of experimenting with, which is a little different than what we're seeing in the Western world in terms of music and production stuff. Like, there's some similarities, but there's still some differences because of, you know, just the world we live in nowadays. And so it's kind of fascinating just to see where all the inspirations kind of blur together and where things divide out. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this new single from him very much.
Yeah. I don't know if I included it in my K-pop playlist, but I should if I haven't yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you want some good lo-fi stuff, I point my finger right to Yugyeom. So right there. So, but let's move on to our next actual album, full album of the, not really full album. It's another mini album, but let's move on to our next one of the week. And that is EXO member Suho and his second mini album in his career, Gray Suit, with the title track Gray Suit. And did you listen to Starry Night last year when that came out? He can't think it came out. Oh, did you listen to Starry Night last year when that came out for him post military? That was his first album, I believe.
Oh,
do you remember that?
I only know his album before he went to the military.
Was that pre-military? Starry Night?
Yeah, I think his solo debut.
Yeah. Was that pre-military? I'm losing track of time now.
That was pre-military.
I'm losing track of time of like when everyone's going into the military now. There's too many of them are going to the military.
Yeah, he did because it's kind of like the same thing with Baekhyun. Like they wanted to put their like music out before they go.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember Starry Night coming out. I remember crying over Starry Night because I remember how beautiful that was. Because I loved Starry Night by Suho. And I feel like this kind of picks up a little bit, but this kind of takes on, like this whole entire album takes on this more like modern rock vibes to it too. Like this like more like...
It's more soft.
Like soft rock, like more modern soft rock.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is something that would like my dad would probably like try to, would probably appreciate because, okay, I don't mean this to offend Suho. Yeah, I love Suho. He's such a handsome man. But like his style and like his kind of like personality, he really fits such as like a dad mood. That like soft rock or like those really soft pop rock really like fits his style well.
Isn't he the dad of EXO pretty much?
Yeah, but I don't make him sound like the old man. It's like, I'm more of like the older like music and all that. It's like more music, more traditional like instruments.
Yeah, because like I was getting lots of like Coldplay, Train, like kind of vibes throughout this whole entire album. When I was listening to it, because it literally came out yesterday. This came out on the 4th of April, on Monday the 4th. So I am literally getting like very much like vibes of that as I was listening through it. And I like my good fair share of Coldplay, and I like my good fair share of Train. I've actually seen them. My brother's actually met them. My brother actually got asked to go on tour with them. So like
nice.
When he was really, really young. My mom's like, no, you have to go to college. But to help with like tour sound stuff. But sidebar story. But yeah, I mean, yeah, his voice definitely fits in that like more like soft rock, prog rock kind of vein of things. And because he definitely has a more melodic tone. So and something I don't see a lot in K-pop, like we don't see this kind of sound a lot in K-pop. This kind of melodic, although I will say the title track, Gray Suit, reminded me a lot of Day 6. Like I could see some Day 6 like esque kind of sounds to it. It felt like something Day 6 would have done.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know if it's just because it had the whole backing band and the music video. It was giving me Day 6 vibes.
You know what? I was like thinking after listening to the album, I feel like he could like really collab well with Janabi.
Ooh, I could see that too. That would be fun. That'd be a fun collab, actually. Ooh, I could see that, like kind of like more like the retro stuff with Janabi with Suho's vocals. I could see that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, with like the like with the instrument, like the traditional instruments and all that. I think the rock sound. I think Suho could really fit into that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that too. Because I mean, there's definitely I felt like something a little romantic to the song. Like there's something longing in his vocals, the way he's vocalizing the song, because it's definitely a love song. But it's kind of like this forlorn love. Like searching for love and stuff, like like searching for the love, like your love colors me on this like gray day, like because he's really playing with like that whole color like gray motif throughout the song. I do like the buildup of the guitars in the chorus. I do like that progression. I do like my fair share of like prog rock. That might just come from me growing up, my dad's immense love of prog rock.
Mhm.
Probably.
It's very sentimental in the sense that it's very yeah emotionally driven, but it's
Mhm.
not so like sappy where it's like like it's making you cry for Suho's character. But I really love it. It's just making you like want to sway your head and all that. Like so
Yeah.
yeah, put your lighter up, just wave it
Your
in the
lighter or
air.
your cell phone flashlight. Yeah, it's just like really just kind of these like nice like just like those kind of like nights where you just want to sit and stare out the window and just like watch the stars twinkle. Like that's the kind of
Mhm.
vibe I get when I would listen to this album, the whole entire album, especially when I listen to Gray Suit. Like I just want to stare outside and I want to stare at the stars twinkling and just kind of uh pine for the man I miss. kind of mood.
Cedric is like, you'll miss me. I
Yeah,
never
and yes, it would be my
knew.
boyfriend Cedric. I miss you, baby.
I never knew.
Just true. It's true. Long distance relationships suck. They have many cons to them, but we make it work. And then I guess I sometimes I'm a little harsh on ambiguous endings because it kind of just abruptly ends a little bit because it kind of like
Really?
does the like final little like bridge and then it ends. But I like kind of the ambiguous ending to it.
Mm.
Because I kind of like just kind of like that like well is it going to be resolved or not? I kind of like that ambiguity at the end of it. So I kind of like the arrangement
Mm.
of
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I could totally see that. But yeah, no, I think yeah, when it comes to like his singing, because it's kind of almost like Yugyeom, like we have mentioned before. It's
Mhm.
not like he's not like if you compare him to other like strong vocalists from EXO such as Baekhyun or Dio. His more is not he doesn't like push his voice to like a powerful type of range, but he's
Yeah.
more of like the soft like he's really soft and very it's almost like delicate with his voice, and it's very it puts you into like in a soothing tone or a soothing mood when you
Hmm.
hear him sing. So I really love like the differences of like each of the EXO's members and their singing skills and abilities.
Yeah, you especially when you see on their solo albums like the different styles each of them take because like yeah I mean we've obviously we do tend to vibe more like obviously like the Kais and the Dios and the Baekuns because they really do push like their vocal strengths when they do their albums. But yeah, this is definitely way more restrained in terms of the EXO members and their solo stuff. Um, but I mean, I like it. I really actually dug this album. Like, I don't know if
Yeah,
it's just again if it's the prog rock lover in me. And I just like because I really enjoyed all the songs on this album. Like they're
yeah.
just all really enjoyable. Like they all kind of make me want to bop my head and just kind of like get this like nice, chill, like easy listening kind of mood.
Yeah, I think for me, I really love like the more faster paced songs such as Morning Star, which is the first track of
Hmm.
the album. I think if you want to compare it to like other like very like like emotionally driven like rock, the alt rock type of like sound really fits with the vibe of like starting out a hopeful day. It's like looking into like the twilight and like wishing for like better days to come. And this
Hmm.
is like something that YouTube would probably would probably like try to do.
Yeah, feels very U2 or Coldplay. That like the throws in my Coldplay like feelings too, like more up like joyous Coldplay song because I know there's
Yeah,
a
like
couple of them.
more uplifting. Yeah, more
Yeah.
uplifting and optimistic. And Hurdle is more of like a very fun, song. I think that's like the one of the more like he's like energetic, where he like really evokes more energy,
Hmm.
and yeah, like enjoyment into the music. So I really love that. A lot of the songs like for like Morning Star and Hurdle really like it's like a perfect songs for you to drive and like if you have like a road trip.
Yeah. No,
It's like
I agree with that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think they're like great continuations from Kihyun's Voyager. I think yeah, after like Kihyun's Voyager, he can like put on
Hmm.
Suho's album for a change. And I think like my other favorite song would be Decanting because it gives me a lot of Hotel California like type of tone. Because
Hmm.
it's almost like foreboding. It's like it doesn't feel like very like like very joyous or something. It feels very somber in the manner.
Yeah, I was getting like there's something like this like interesting like 70s 80s edge to it. Like I was getting like David
Mhm.
Bowie, Prince sounds
Wow.
to that song, like in the guitar and the kind of the
Oh
arrangement
my
of the
god.
song. I'm hitting all
Yeah.
your, yes.
I know. You know me so much. It's like, oh,
I do
it's
know
David
you. I
Bowie.
know you
That's
so well.
me.
I know
Oh,
you so
yeah.
well, Jenny. But yeah, I mean,
Oh my god.
I describe it as like lounge music with a rock edge. That's what I describe decanting as.
Yeah, I think like it has like that power like the guitar riff at the beginning, right? That's like the song.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Like
I was like at the beginning,
the
like,
dirty
whoa.
riff. Yeah.
Yeah, like damn.
That's
Like it makes me want to like go back to my guitar right now. Just like play.
yeah, like there's just something like the guitar riffs that felt very Prince like to it.
Almost
It's like just
grimy.
yeah, grimy, a little dirty. And then just yeah, the like more dreamlike quality felt very David Bowie to me. So and I really dug that kind of sound of his too, because it's especially after something like more upbeat as Hurdle, because it comes right after Hurdle on the album. So
Hmm.
and then I did really like Bear Hug, which I think is the second to last song on the album.
Oh yeah.
I really, really enjoyed that. Just this like just more emotional song. You all know I like this happy stuff on occasion. This is definitely a little bit more on this. I think on this I won't say like super sappy, because like I don't think it's like intentionally sappy, but like I'm getting like visions of like running to your loved one in the rain, like in a K-drama kind of feelings when you listen to the song. Like that's the kind of imagery I get listening to it.
Yeah, I can totally get you.
So, I mean, like I said, I really, actually, really dug this album. This is not going to help my apparently my SM bias.
Oh, you
Which I didn't
too?
realize I had an SM bias, but I
You
do on the
too.
solo artists.
Hey, I thought you'd be more like a hype JYP, but more like yeah, hype like KQ type of like bias.
There's only one group of KQ. Although I am following the Rickies. Still waiting for them to debut.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Out of all the EXO members he wanted to support, like Lay has been like doing a lot of shout outs for Suho lately for his album. And,
Aw,
I know for
really?
Kai, yeah, like I kind of noticed like he didn't like mention anything for like other like members like Kai or Dio, or
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably mentioned Dio. But yeah, but with him, he's been like posting and like been liking a lot of Suho's like
Aw.
promo pics. Like, oh my god, like I know they're close in age. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why, and I think they really like bonded more like of all EXO members. So that's so sweet.
Aw, that's so
Uh,
sweet of Lay to be supporting Suho. That really
I know.
is.
I really want them like to come back together, man.
I know. I really want Lay to get back to Korea. I really do, but I know he's so
Yeah, like
busy in China. I
I know
know.
at least like SM's like trying to make him like I guess put him put him like with like the group like CGI, so at least they're trying something, and at least like they had the time to do that for like their last album. So yeah.
As good or bad as that looked, and can't fight the feeling. Yeah.
It's like the CGI in him is just like dancing along with the yeah, I'm with them.
It's like
It's
yeah.
kind of like bittersweet, but it's just like it's
It's
almost kind of
like
funny too.
we're trying.
Right.
So I mean, hopefully, like as maybe once we probably get back to OT9, EXO post
Ah,
military, maybe
I hope so.
potentially. I
But
don't know. I know we
their
still have to.
contracts are coming. Yeah, their contracts are coming up this year, so I don't know how they're gonna.
I know. We have to wait because we still have to wait for Kai and Sehun to get through the military yet. So we still have a ways to go, but unfortunately with EXO, but unfortunately we're at that age for all the third gen groups now. So we're just like, like sigh. But let's move on to our next one, which is a group now that's post military. Speaking of military. And that is the group Big Bang, the iconic second generation group Big Bang, and they're long,
the kings of K-pop. Way before BTS or like
way
other
before,
yeah.
way before BTS, way before EXO, um, way back in the day, the kings, the original kings. Big Bang, and this is I don't know this. Well, I mean, this is their song "Still Life." This has been a heavily anticipated comeback for them because they've been kind of teasing they were going to release new music post-military, and then obviously we had the whole Sunguri scandal with Burning Mocha, which I feel like we still need to do an episode on that because that's a whole mess and a half.
Yeah,
But
I don't want to. I kind of don't want to mention like but this is like their comeback. This should be like celebrated and all of that. It's like
yeah,
Lily.
This is a celebration because I feel like this might be the end. This feels like the end of like an era. Like this kind of feels like a finality to Big Bang. The way in the song, the way the lyrics kind of like translate out, and the way the song is just kind of like kind of melancholy,
bittersweet,
bittersweet, kind of like remembering of the old days, but we're moving on to bigger and better things in our futures because all of them are all kind of they're all in their 30s, and they're all, I mean, one of them's married, and they all want to go do different things. I know TOP talked about he didn't really want to do much music anymore. He really wants to go more into art. I know G-Dragon, who knows what G-Dragon's going to do because G-Dragon's G-Dragon.
Yeah, I think it's like he's probably the most active, music artist out of all Big Bang.
Probably.
So
like
he'll continue doing solo works and all that.
Right, he'll probably be dropping more solo works in the future now that he's out of the military.
Yeah, we could probably produce for a change too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
probably. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't produced anything for YG yet, because I know he's still technically signed with YG. So I'm surprised he hasn't produced anything for for Treasure or for Icon or for anybody yet.
too. I mean, he's
or Blackpink,
yeah.
True. Or it's working with Teddy or anything like that. But
can I be in the music production? No.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it's like this. It feels like this very much like this finality to Big Bang, and it's kind of sad.
It's also hitting because it's also like every time when a group's in their final album, they always do that sentimental, they always grab the criteria of how to capture people's feelings.
Mm-hmm. Like we saw with New West a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but with Big Bang, no offense to New West, because Big Bang is one of the most renowned K-pop groups. They're really legendary, and for them to put out this, this almost a swan song. I don't know if it's considered a swan song for this for this one. It's really strike catches you and really just grabs you in your feelings.
Yeah, it kind of does feel like a swan song to this because it kind of continues on from their final song that they released before the military. It feels very much kind of like this is it. This is going to be the end of it. This feels like the continuation from Flower Road, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because they've been putting more of the very ballady type of songs in their recent or their later career.
Yeah, the later discography was very ballady, which I appreciated. I mean, they had some hard hitting, but we really should do a Wikipedia on Big Bang because again, literal kings of K-pop. I mean, if you're a second gen stan, you knew about Big Bang, hands down, in the day.
You could tell about the maturity of them going into a different sound, from a very bombastic hip hop into more of just a softer and just more more laid back emotional songs. It really strikes a core, and then you can really tell how much they matured.
Yeah, and there's just something very gospelish I found to the song, with their vocals, with the assembly of how the song is assembled. I mean, obviously, obviously G-Dragon's his rap is obviously always on point because it's always on point.
Yeah, and top two, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and tops too. Yeah, I mean, definitely did. But between Taeyeon and Daesung's like vocals, like just really kind of fulfilling that, kind of giving us this more like fulfilled, like kind of like gospelish as kind of longing to kind of just round it all out to really kind of just beautifully brought together. Like it's just, like you could tell these they are kings for a reason, and this proves it. So
Even the music video itself is like a reflection back in
their careers,
their life and and their career as like this they're very famous group.
yeah.
And you can tell like a lot of like symbolisms too, and like a lot of like imagery that makes you assume like is this like supposed to be like back when they were 5 and all that, because like there's like something that there's some shots that really like that really caught my attention, like those shots with like the 4 chairs together,
Yeah.
and then the later shot is like this one chair on its own, so I was like like
Mm-hmm,
is it
mm-hmm.
like representing like like the members from like Big Bang and all that, and like how it went down.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how they all feel about the whole thing that went down with all that, because
Yeah.
that's kind of been a well kept secret within the industry. And yeah, because I mean, basically when that thing happened, Sungri left.
Yeah. So like
And
it makes you like wonder if that was intentional, and then what if they held any like I guess like any grudge, or just like maybe like some like, regret, I guess regretful feelings.
more
or
regret, I
something.
would think, than anything. Yeah, I feel like regret's the right word.
Yeah.
Especially because at the end, like they still have the 5 stripes at the end, which is kind of been their
Yeah.
iconic logo, especially late Big Bang. So
Yeah.
there are always the 5 of them, even with everything that happened. But yeah, I mean this definitely feels like the closing of a chapter for them. I mean, I'm more excited to see like exactly what they're all planning to do post military. Because they all have, I mean, there's a reason why they led the industry for such a long time, and they inspired so much of the industry into the 3rd generation, into part of the 4th generation. So
Yeah.
they're huge inspirations to the sounds we do see now in K-pop. So is because of Big Bang. So like they are literally iconic in so many different ways. And
Yeah,
so
they've
yeah, it's just like
inspired. Yeah, they've inspired a lot of like like future artists, including like the 3rd generation, idols. This is like why Jackson wanted to be, become an idol, because he wanted to like follow the Big Bang's footsteps. Though he did not know he was supposed to audition in YG, but he thought Big Bang was in JYP.
oh whoops.
So fun fact, he wanted to follow Big Bang. They thought they were under JYP.
Whoops. Wrong agency.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah.
better luck next time.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, I think VIPs, I know from what it sounds like, VIPs were love this.
I
And
saw every reaction I saw on YouTube, just a crying thumbnail.
I which understandably so. I can understand why, because I think this is it, unfortunately, because I know everyone was like, "Oh, Big Bang come back." I think this is it, guys. Unfortunately, I think this is we're done.
I really felt like that, like they're gonna have like a more like a celebratory comeback and all that. I thought I didn't really like expect like this is like okay, we're closing that, we're closing our chapter together as Big Bang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could have like wished that they had another track which is more celebratory and then go back to like their their roots as Big Bang. But I understand they wanted to like have a more mature sound.
Yeah.
And make it seem like it's a goodbye note for K-pop industry.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I just lost the train of thought here. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just like it feels like a victory lap almost in a way.
Yeah, this is their let it be.
Yeah.
Oh, until it happens for BTS, man. Oh my god, I would not.
Oh god. Well, and like it actually kind of fits because there were some parts of the song that felt very Beatles-esque to it too. So like I kind of like the let it be Like there's some things where Beatles-esque.
Even their album cover, or their single cover is like, it's like such a the Beatles Let It Be, the four the four members in like those squares together.
Yeah,
bro.
Bring it all together. There we go.
They call like the BTS the Beatles of K-pop. I think that would probably go to Big Bang.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I want to see like a Let It Be rendition from like some of the K-pop idols.
Right. It feels like kind of like a Let It Be a little bit. It does a little bit. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with everybody with their future endeavors and stuff. Because like, it was TOP has no longer with YG. He's doing his own thing, and then obviously the other three. I know obviously we know G-Dragon's probably going to be producing stuff and might release some solo stuff. Which I do enjoy his solo things because his solo releases go hard. Oh my god, man. They go hard. They go so hard. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing when Daesung and Taeyang do. Although Taeyang does have a wife and kid, so be very interested to see what's gonna happen because I know Taeyang's very much a family man now. So
Return of Superman.
Jenny's not saying, but Jenny's saying.
We need more kids. We need more kids in the show. Our cute kids.
More cute kids. But let's wrap it up and let's take it to our last release of the week. And actually just came out just today, the day we're recording it, April 5th. And that's from fourth generation group IVE, the brand new fourth generation group IVE that just literally debuted. What would they debut? December, I feel like.
All right. Yeah, right at the end of November. Yeah, I know.
Right at the end of. It's like right at the end of last year. I remember it was like right when the last things reviewed at the end of 2021. But this is IVE's latest single release. I just lost my place. Love Dive. So, and this is another single release of theirs. So it's another like 2-part, single release, A side and a B side for them. And I love what you tagged me in this morning, by the way, on Facebook.
Oh my god! This is the first thing that came into my mind. Freaking Riddler. Why? Just look at that. If you watch the Batman, if you're into superhero comics and all that, and then if you're into K-pop, just look into the lyrics of Love Dive. Maybe you could understand how I feel.
Yeah, something with the whole narcissistic tendencies or something. I don't know, something like that.
I'm curious about you. I want to know more about you.
I'm so obsessed about you.
You inspired me. You're a psychopath. You're gonna die alone in Arkham. No. No. Sorry. Wow, we're just Batman now. I also put the clip on, when BTS lost. No.
Because this is exactly how Mini G reacted. This is exactly how Mini G reacted on Sunday when I told her, and she's like, "I'm ready."
Well, it's mostly on Army. This is applied for the Twitter Army because there are more. For me, I really I've already accepted. They might not win.
Yeah, good point. I was like, yeah, I'm good. But Twitter Army is more like, yeah. So yeah.
This is where I'm supposed to go.
But I mean, back to IVE. Let's get back to IVE, not BTS.
Or Batman.
Or Batman for that matter. But I will say this, finally not a girl group song that's, a freaking 3-in-1 song. It's actually one song all the way through. Okay, I thought you were talking about because I actually, for me, I dug their single album. Because I know, for during their debut, I enjoyed 11, but not so much with their B side. The B side, yeah.
The B side. So for this one, this is a whole improvement.
Oh, this is a step above. The B side from 11. I mean, I liked 11 a lot. I think 11 was a very solid debut. Had some as Jenny starts doing the dance to 11. But. It had some of those elements of what we've seen with some of the new girl groups, with the blending of multiple genres into one. This appreciate the fact that this doesn't do that because we've seen that enough because I kind of criticized Purple Kiss last week for that. With
or
MAM. So
yeah.
I'm happy to like hear this. I actually had Cedric listen to this morning. He's like, "Oh my god, a girl group that doesn't blend 3 songs into one."
I never
knew.
I love that. That's a catchphrase. What a catch!
That's our catchphrase now.
Yeah, but also like we kind of know like with K-pop they like doing experimental stuff. Like I think SM's like getting more into it because like with thanks to Girls' Generation, a lot of girl groups right now they wanted to like replicate the same formula and trying to go like experimental. It can be a hit and miss with some of the groups, but I really appreciate like a more straightforward songs. I think with Twice, I think they're also like have like straightforward music too. Like I don't remember any like thing that like they would make a sudden switch up, but
no, it's the more experimental of the JYP girl groups, honestly. Outside of NMIXX. But the Twice tends to be a little more straight through because they're more like their classic third gen girl group. And then ITZY obviously is a little bit more experimental. They're not as experimental, I would say, as aespa is, but they do experiment a little bit. I mean, and like I said, nowhere to the level we've seen with aespa, where it completely like changes like the beat breakdown and stuff too, and the genre completely. And yeah, I dug Love Dive. I had this really cool like, and then like, I feel like we were already seeing like an identity for them, and this is only the second single, but like I'm already seeing like these vibes of like this like tropical sound with these like clubby beats. Like I'm seeing this as becoming like a signature sound for them.
Yeah, and almost like a bit of like a Middle Eastern flair into it because it feels very like something that he would. It's like they're almost exotic in a way. Something that you would hear like in other like other countries or other like nation cultures that has that intriguing type of sound. I'm trying to like put it carefully because it comes to like cultural appropriation or like I'm trying to be careful with those. But
it's not to the level of cultural appropriation like at all. Like I'm not sensing that at all because we've seen that happen in K-pop. But I have not sensed that with like I do see the I hear the Middle Eastern sounds in like I heard it in 11 and I hear it in Love Dive, and I really I like the blending of that like with the tropical sounds with the clubbier beats, and like I said, I like we're already seeing a unique different sound that is IVE, and like I said, this is only the second single of theirs, so they're already establishing a sound in a very, like I said, a very crowded 4th gen market for girl groups.
Yeah, you know what? I think
it's impressive.
Yeah, impressive. And I think I feel like I would be like the lead. Yeah, I don't know. I would be probably like the leading one if like you're gonna have who would win like the best female
rookies.
Newcomer artist. Yeah, rookies. So I feel like I would could be like a good shoe until like other groups would probably.
Unless NMIXX fixes their shit, and then NMIXX will probably be a shoe-in, but...
Or like the Seraphim or something. So like we'll see like how they can compare. But I think with IVE right now, I think they're really killing it so far. And I think it really helps to thanks to Starship's music production, because I think I could kind of notice the way how they make their music. It's like they really relied on like a really heavy bass. They did it with Monster X, and they kind of did a bit with Gravity. So with IVE, you can kind of hear the sounds, especially when you go to like their more hip hop rap centric track, which was Royal. You can really hear like a more aggressive, that boom, into this song.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that definitely kind of is like the more Starship-esque kind of sounds that we do equate with like Starship Entertainment. But there is also something kind of cool, like Vogue-y about the song. Like I can like these like Vogue kind of sounds, like Vogue club sounds. Like I said, like I'm starting to now equate with IVE, and which is nice that I'm like I had 2 songs that like do kind of feel like they do connect with one another. On like the last single where 11, I cannot remember what the other song was off of that album, but it didn't feel like it connected because it was just a very generic 4th gen song. Whereas these two really do like feel like they do kind of work together on this single album release and really do establish an identity for them. So even just for a single release, like this isn't a full album or even a mini album for them, an EP. We have yet to get that for IVE, but whatever's coming down the horizon for them, you know, I'm honestly looking forward to them for girl groups. Like they might be competing with me, you know, with Everglow and ITZY, you know, in terms of like fourth gen girl groups and Stacy, you know, in terms of like girl groups I actually listen to. So
it's a tough competition, man. Especially because when I like also I'm now underestimating, you know, the girl performances, especially in the fourth gen era. Because I did like send you like there's like this video of like this really complex dance of like, you know, from NMIX, from aespa to like ITZY, and for this one I really dug their dance choreography. Something I failed to mention during their discussion about 11 is like their choreography is on point, and like how they unify and how they dance together is so synchronized. It's like you can tell it's very harmonized. Like it's very appealing to, you know, to look at them dance together and have like the really flowy choreography. So I could say the same thing about their comeback. Whoever is choreographing their dances should earn a raise.
Yeah, I'd say they're very similar in that kind of style, like 17, because 17 is really really good about like that synchronicity across them. I'm seeing the similar stuff with IVE, that kind of synchronicity across them in their choreography, and it's something really beautiful to look at between all 6 of them. And I'm floored. Like I said, they've only been out for 4 months at this point, 4 5 months, and killing it. Honest to God, they're killing it. Starship was really holding on to these girls for a while, and I think knew what they were doing with them, and wow. Just wow.
They've done good.
Starship.
They've done well.
They really have. They really, really have. And like I said, they might be quickly shooting up my list of girl groups I actually listen to on the regular. So congratulations, IVE. You might be actually reaching a pinnacle that it's hard to reach on my list, because I tend to listen to all the 11. Mostly I just listen to the guy groups, but you know, so occasionally I do dabble in girl groups, but mostly I listen to the guys. But yeah, no, I really I'm impressed. I'm floored. I'm still trying to curate my playlist for this weekend in Vegas, and I feel like Love Dive's going on my playlist. So, because I'm making like a quote unquote permission to dance playlist, which is going to be mostly BTS, but I'm going to include some other, you know, boy and girl groups in that list as well, because I want a little bit of variety. So
if you play that out loud in front of the army, they're probably going to like hiss like, playing other songs.
It's because I have a lot of friends who are multi-stands, so we like to listen to a lot of different K-pop. So. And I like to expand out. Like I said, I'm on the Stay Tinny agenda so hard right now.
But I'm just saying, like, are there like, you know, not outside your friends,
outside my friend group? Yeah, if I'm on the strip and I'm playing that, I'll probably get murdered.
I know.
So, but with my friend group, really, it's like I have a lot of multi friends, so it's nice.
Multi friends.
Like I said. Be a multi-stan. It's healthier for your life, for the most part.
Because every time you like, if you're a soul stan, you're gonna be like spending energy, like trashing other groups. So that is not the way to do it. If you're soul stan, praise your soul. You know, your solo groups. Then don't like bring other, you know,
don't bring other groups down.
Into it.
Yeah, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for your soul.
Same with Ship.
I don't know how many times we preach that on this show. I feel like we preach it almost all the time on this show.
Yeah,
you and me as both multis.
It's the same thing with Ship Wars. It's like why are you like taking the other groups? Why you should be like spending like focusing your like your love for like this, you know, for a couple or something like that. So it's like it's not, also me not you know being intergroup shipping either. Hi, that's me. But let's wrap up this episode, shall we? Because I think we've hit all the albums of the week, and I mean,
Next episode, I'm gonna have to obviously recap my whole entire trip to Vegas. I'm hoping to record some maybe question mark, cross my fingers here.
Okay.
Make a bit of a travel vlog when I'm in Vegas. For
I'll
some
help
maybe
you.
video content. Y'all finally get to see my pretty face, or my supposed pretty face, according to my boyfriend.
Oh, we probably saw you on the mukbang special, right? We already saw you.
Oh yeah, me. No, not me dumping sauce in a hotel room during the mukbang.
Oh
Because
God,
I'm awesome. I'm
the
awesome.
way I was a trigger like.
The cringe on that. That was funny. Well, what do we all have coming down the road here for comebacks after I get back from Vegas here? Well, we got Onu from SHINee coming back with his solo comeback.
Wow, another SM solo release.
Another, because we cannot ignore the SM allegations here on the show. Apparently,
Yeah.
Also have a new comeback from Epix coming down the pipeline as well. I have been seeing the teasers for that, and that's looking fantastic. As well as the comeback for Dreamcatcher, which we might have to get both Chris and Ray on the show. Again, we might have to do a 4-way situation here on the show. So
look forward to it.
Might be a little bit of craziness on the show, which I'm okay with this at all. Looks like we might have a comeback also. I know we have a comeback from Just Be, which I've been just getting into Just Be, 4th gen group. They've really kind of been hitting my new my kind of like emo rock vibes a little bit. I might have to get you onto Just Be, but they have a comeback coming on the 14th, so we might have to check them out too, as well as Ha Sung Woon, who's also a soloist. I believe Produce 101 as well. And then I don't know if it depends on when we record, because we also have 17's English single coming on the 15th of April. They just announced. 17. They just announced because they announced their album coming up.
I really like pushing out the English singles.
Well, it's a huge deal because this is 17's first English single. So
it's gonna be like detonate like.
I don't think they're gonna do something like Dynamite. I want something super rock heavy from 17. I'm sorry. I'm in this 17 rock vein, after, Rock With You. I want this.
I'm more of a jazzy 17, so I'm more of a home run. I have a home run and team home run. We can do both. We can do both.
Now that you say that. I know there's so much happening, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have I'm gonna be wrapping up Vegas too, or the whirlwind that is Vegas next episode too. But yeah, we'll have to see when we record next week to see what's all going to be reviewed at that point. But yeah, oh my God, I have so much to do before I go to Vegas, and I literally fly out in less than 36 hours. Oh boy. Yeah.
Fighting, Jenni. Fighting. Goodbye.
Before we, do our final fighting for the day, do you have anything you want to plug, Jenni?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Jenni Leano. So that's GINNYLEANO. You can check out my design pages. Facebook at Jenni Leano Designs. Instagram at Jenni Designs. And hopefully you'll find out my other pages, my personal pages, down at my description. And back to you, Jenni.
And you can find me, Jenni, if you want to see any more of my other exploits in Vegas. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Jenni Matasek. That's Jenni with an I, Matasek. You can also find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Chaos Bulldog. You can also find the show pages for the Noonas podcast over on Twitter and on Instagram at Noonas_podcast. Don't forget that underscore. You can also check out this past Spotify playlist for our shows over just clicking on those bios. I'll take you back to our previous Wikipedia episode playlists, as well as some previous year-end wrap-ups, thought playlists, a whole bunch of goodness, because again, we are total multi-stance on the show. We can also listen to the audio-only version of the show on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Noonas podcast. all one word. And you can also check out the video form of our show over on Facebook and on YouTube. Just search for the Noonas podcast. Make sure to like, click, and subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment or two. We love to interact with everybody who's listening to the show. Also want to give a huge major thanks and shout out to our video editor, Alan, who helps us get our videos up each and every episode, and want to plug his Twitch channel. He does a lot of awesome video game playthroughs and stuff. That is twitch.tv/birdmanali, BIRDMANALI. Yeah, this is it for this week's episode of the Noonas podcast. Thought it was going to be a short episode, and it's still almost 2 hours long.
I mean, it's under 2 hours.
I say things are going to be short. They never are short around here, I swear. Oh, well.
I'll go on as quickly. 2 hours later.
2 hours later. Yeah, I know exactly. Like our episode last week. I'm surprised we got through that episode last week in 2 hours because we had a lot to review last week.
Yeah, can you imagine if there's 4 of us? So that's going to be...
Now I'm happy like next week is like a very minimal week in terms of releases because like we will be talking a long time about Dreamcatcher probably.
We'll make sure, just like maybe get them into a group chat so maybe they can be in the know.
In the know. Yeah. Heads up, Chris and Ray, you might be on deck for our next episode. So you have been summoned to listen to Dreamcatcher as well as some other stuff. As well as listen to me rant about Vegas.
Yes, Simon. Yes, Simon.
But no, I guess with that, I guess we're just gonna sign off with a resounding
fighting. Pray for Jenni this weekend.
Pray for me, guys. Pray for me to survive.